Now, this is probably going to seem pretty out there to some people. Remember, it's just theoretics, right? This is just me theorizing on things that I have observed myself. I don't know what the current human understandings of these things are. But this is essentially what I think space flight will be in the future, all right? Now, if you've seen my other videos, you know that the eye of least resistance is created, basically anytime you have something spinning in the underlying field of space. It creates the waves in both directions, and it creates a central eye of least resistance. A good way to visualize this is a tornado or a hurricane, right? It has this eye in the center where all pressures equal out and things seem to just kind of float, be weightless. Essentially, our sun is one of those, right? And every single planet is its own smaller version of that. Now, the sun rotates around the galaxy, right? And the galaxies themselves have eyes in the center of them. It's just the same thing repeating over and over on different scales, all right? So now the reason that our Earth doesn't just suck into the sun or the eye of least resistance that's very large next to us, or one of the other bigger planets on further out, is because it is spinning as well. All of them are, right? And they're creating their own eye. Now, moons can be magnetically locked to the actual north and south poles of that planet. That's not to be mistaken for a lack of an eye, right? The moon's stuck magnetically. It's a different type of attraction. Now, the eye always wants to draw mass towards its center, but it also spins and slings mass outwards. Centrifuge and centipede. Now, all I'm proposing is that we copy this pattern, right? The Earth creates its own eye, which allows it to stay in a certain distance away from the sun. All we need to do is basically the same thing. As far as I can tell, if we spin something like a gyro fast enough, what happens is all the compounded inertia gets built up, basically, right, in the outside of it. So let's say this is a 1,000-pound flywheel or a gyro, and we spin it at 15,000 RPMs or so. Well, it's going to get, depending on how fast we spin it, it'll have more and more weight forced outwards, but it's locked in that outer ring, right? So at a certain point, we reach a critical mass to where a certain speed, this thing will actually pull the fabric of space apart and create an eye, right? Now, I don't know if this will work just through spinning or if we need to also vibrate it like a bell, because essentially what I'm doing is copying what planets do in next to their respective eye, which would be the sun for us. But the planet resists all that because it creates its own eye. Now, our planet vibrates, I believe, at 7.5 hertz or megahertz, something like that. It also has a certain speed of rotation. There's a few different things. It's also a magnet, basically. It has a magnetic spectrum. So I propose that we copy all that onto something that we can ride on, right, or in. We copy all that into a spinning craft of some sort that's essentially a giant gyro that has a magnetic spectrum, and it rings at a certain frequency. Maybe we can even change the frequency of that ring to attract and repulse certain frequencies of planets that we're near. Another thing I propose is that we use something like an oscillator. So when you have, let's say you have your gyro spinning in space, right? And you get it fast enough to create one of these theoretic eyes of least resistance, just like a tornado does, right? It rips and creates these waves going out in forward and reverse direction. It kind of rips time and space apart and creates a little central ball or a concentrated point of energy and equality, right? It equals out. But anyway, what we should do is possibly use oscillators that will generate waves so that will be essentially a form of propulsion, right? If we generate waves in this direction with an oscillator that's variable, right? So you generate different types of waves to give yourself the best possible propulsion. You can also move this oscillator anywhere around the vehicle in 3D, you know, so this is just like a 2D cutaway, right? So is that. But it would be in all directions, just like these waves. They permeate in all directions, except for usually it seems like right in the center, there's the two cones, north and south. That's basically the eye of least resistance going up and down as a funnel. But essentially that would be our spacecraft, right? We spin something fast enough, vibrate it, magnetic spectrum, copy everything the planet Earth does, or any planet, whatever, can vary all those things, right? Spin it fast enough, we should get some kind of eye of least resistance to where people can be in there, and you can probably be weightless in the center. We would have to figure out how a cockpit would be involved in this whole situation. At first, we would want to just build the craft before trying to put people on it, you know, just proof of concept. But essentially, I think that's going to be the future. Now remember, I could just be some idiot who's completely lost. But either way, maybe this means something.